meeting. We will start our meeting like normal. We will start with an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. Tonight's invocation will be led by Mr. John Carroll.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, as we come before you today, we want to thank you once again for the many blessings that you do give us. And Lord, we also want to pray for our nation as going through these stressful times. And we just have to remember that we're on your timetable and that you're in charge. And now, Lord, as we go through the business of the city of Hardyville and the citizens of Jasper County, we ask that you guide us and direct us to make the best decisions. All these things we ask in your most precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our servicemen who have given their life for our country, those who are serving in the military now, and all of our first responders. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Our first item this evening is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
I approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now we move into reserved. We have nothing this evening. Now, we will open this up for public comment. This is not about item A. This is just our regular public comment. I am going to read the rules of public comment. We are now entering the public comment portion of our meeting. We ask that you direct your comments at this time to the council as a whole. We welcome any comments on matters appearing on the agenda or those that are within our control. Some matters are better addressed to county council or your state representatives. Please avoid personal attacks on members of our community, city staff, or a council member, being mindful that these proceedings are being broadcast and are available to be heard by children and others at home watching. Thank you.
We have no one signed up, Mayor Pro Tem.
We have nobody signed up this evening. All right, we can move past that. Do we have anybody signed for public comments? You say no, we're good there. Public presentations. We have introduction of Patrolman Nathan Olivius. I'm recognizing Lieutenant Dustin Creel.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council, and staff. It's my honor to introduce one of the newest additions to the Hardyville Police Department. This is Nathan Olivis. He comes from the state of Kansas. He's a 6-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and actually heard good things from another officer here, and it piqued his interest, and he decided to put in and give us a chance. He just recently graduated from the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy as well.
Good.
So we're excited to have him.
Good.
Thank you for affording me this opportunity to serve the city of Hardyville, and I look forward to my career with Hardyville Police Department.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Comments, council?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to you.
How long is the academy now?
They do a 4-week in-house and an 8-week at the actual Criminal Justice Academy.
Okay. Nathan, you're not in Kansas anymore.
It's better now, you're in South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
I have to ask, what brought you to the low country?
My wife did. I met my
That
wife-
does happen sometimes. Good. Well, welcome. You've signed on with a fantastic department in a very fast-growing city. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Okay, moving on. We have presentation and approval of minutes. March 5th, 2026, regular city council meeting. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the March 5th regular city council meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, we move into old business, and I must read a few things here. I have already read the rules for public comment. I am going to read them again as we approach this. We are now entering the public comment portion of our meeting. We ask that you direct your comments at this time to the council as a whole. We welcome any comments on matters appearing on the agenda or those that are within our control. Some matters are better addressed to county council or your state representatives. Please avoid personal attacks on members of our community, city staff, or council members. Being mindful that these proceedings are being broadcast and are available to be heard by children and others at home watching. I'm also going to read the civility pledge that us as council members have all taken and signed. It's a personal pledge. I pledge to build a stronger and more prosperous community by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of my own city or town. With that, we have the second reading of an ordinance to adopt initial master plan for parcel 06700011042 to be known as townhouses and cottages at East Argent Parkway, East Argent PDD McGuinn Master Plan 2026-02-05D. We are now entering a public hearing. We will limit this to a 30-minute total, 3 minutes per resident. At the conclusion of each resident speaking, I will ask for a show of hands of all who approve. Do we have somebody who would like to speak first? Please state your name and your address.
Hi, Andrew Couch, 1267 Azalea Drive in Riverton Point. I spoke at the February 19th and March 5th meetings and submitted documents for the record. On March 9th, I sent an email to council pointing out the council failed its state-mandated duty of inquiry to the public. On March 9th, we submitted a letter signed by abutters requesting a delay of this meeting. On March 11th, we submitted this document of issues to council to address. That is this, which was submitted by the deadline last Wednesday. So we do accept that the adjacent parcel will ultimately be developed. But as Mick Jagger said, as an operating principle, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need. So we do believe there's a path forward. And basically that is to approve Plan B, remove 2 buildings, and conform fully with the zoning ordinance. So that's the easy path, but there's a more difficult legal path that we don't want to pursue. And in my work, over 30 years, we always are tough on the issues, but not tough on the people. These are all addressed at council, and these are not new issues. They've been raised in prior meetings and in writing last week. First, 1, council has violated South Carolina law, specifically the duty of inquiry of the Home Rule Act. 2, council has exceeded its legal authority by approving a plan that includes violations of the zoning ordinance. 3, council has committed procedural errors in its review. 4, council has not required the developer to provide adequate evidence of right, title, and interest. 5, council has approved a plan that has not been legally subdivided with a recordable meets and bounds survey. 6, the developer's traffic report does not conform with the ITE standards. 7, council has not required the developer to report impacts on wildlife, wetlands, and natural resources. 8, council has not listed conditions of approval in its draft of the second reading. 9, council has not enforced section 81.1 of the district requirements requiring POA documents to accompany the transfer of any development tract within PDD. We're looking for council to respond to these issues. Can you respond point by point to all of these issues? They've all been raised previously, and it's your duty under the state law, Duty of Inquiry State Law Act. Can you respond to these issues?
Not respond at this time.
I'm going to give you the documents for the council's record. And the record.
Thank you very much. Accept my apologies. I did jump out of order here a little bit. I'm a little bit new at this. But we do need to hear from our city manager. I apologize, Mr. Gruber.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just to provide some of the procedural history of this matter for the public's benefit, this planned development district was initially approved by City Council back in 2005. That document identified the uses for this property and also identified the density that would be allowed to be developed in this area. That agreement was most recently amended in 2018 by the City Council. And then moving forward into the present application, the city received the application from the developers on August of 2025. The matter was set before the Planning Commission on October 8th. The matter was carried over and then brought forward again to the Planning Commission in November. It then went forward to a council workshop, and from a council workshop to the first reading of this matter at your last meeting in April. It is now pending before this body based on second and final reading. I do understand that both the staff are going to prepare some remarks in terms of the changes from the first reading to the second reading and respond to some of the questions and concerns that were brought up by council and the public. And then the developer will have an opportunity to reinforce some of those comments by indicating what their intentions and plans are to implement those changes. So with that information, I'd like to turn it over to staff so they can kind of give a run through of what is different from the last time that this was before this body.
Good evening. Thank you for that introduction. I did provide a memo in your packets as well.
I don't know if it's coming on.
There it is. All right, so the unit, yeah, it's loud. The unit that was previously located closest to the Riverton residence has been removed, and those units have been relocated throughout the property. So in place of the 4-unit building that has been relocated, it is now amenity space for future amenity area. A 25-foot preserved buffer is being maintained with and enhanced with evergreen screen adjacent to the Riverton property. The buffer will be designed to achieve a dense evergreen year-round opacity within 3 years. This buffer will be installed immediately upon following clearing and prior to any vertical construction. So by the time they get to that part of the property, it should achieve that year-round opacity. The exhibits have all been updated to reflect the changes that you are seeing tonight. Buildings 28 and 29 down here on this end of the property here, those will be constructed last. It is written in the document that those are not to be constructed until the last units. And then finally, the error on page 8 of the master plan narrative, which stated 151 units, has been corrected to match the exhibits and the traffic impact study. Throughout the process, all of the exhibits and the TIA have accounted for 156 units. And one last thing, sorry, this final proposal includes 10.8% active open space. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Rusty, do you want
I'd
to
like to hear from the developer now.
Good afternoon, Mayor Bennett and the rest of the council. Thank y'all for having us this afternoon. I'm Rusty Windsor with Kimley Horn on behalf of McGuinn Homes. And just kind of want to walk through a few more things with this. There was another item that I think that may have been missed is that this 25-foot space here that was originally shown as active open space previously was removed, and then it was added back over here, so it increased this open space here. So it gives a little bit better use of the space, better, a little bit more area for that space over there. Then let's see, I'm just going to go through the list of what I had from last time. We had the active open space, make sure we meet that, which we did. Remove the 25-foot strip along the pond. Also, make sure we added the buffer planting that we were proposing in that screening area, which was added to the document. The other thing was let's see, I think you said you had all the exhibits in here. Let me see. We went through and highlighted out for the buffer itself, the actual how we got to all the active open space and everything. It's listed here on the open space and connectivity plan. So that was shown on there and added into the document. And then we confirmed the final account, which you already did. And we updated the narrative about the vertical construction and the timeline of those buildings that we have starred on this exhibit. I'm gonna zoom back in a little bit so you can see. Those buildings there that we have starred are highlighted to be built last. And then the screening is the evergreen screening. It was also that living fence that we had talked about to make sure we create that opacity, but also makes it hard to be able to cross through between there. It was a plan for that. And then those were my comments from last time that we discussed about making changes and revisions for, and be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, we will wait for that for council comments.
Thank you.
All right, we will go back now to the public comments. We've had one person. Would the next person like to speak? Your name and your address, please.
My name's Melinda Vetter. My address is 1074 Riverton Point Boulevard. I'm new to South Carolina. We just moved here in January. But it's my understanding that the council is here to represent the residents of Hardeeville, as well as to support smart development. So I am a little bit confused. The residents of Hardeeville and Riverton Point came with a plan. It was our Plan B. And the developer also came with that same Plan B, which I'm assuming they did in good faith. And yet the staff chose to move forward with Plan A. I'm confused as to why that is the case. And I would ask that the council take the time to allow us to revisit and come to a compromise with Plan B. We were very close to being at a compromise, and for whatever reason, we chose to go a different route. So I'm just asking that you take the time to allow us to revisit before making a vote, and reconsider Plan B as an option. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
Hi, my name's, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name's Donna Madliner. I live at 385 Laurel Oak. And first of all, I want to address everyone here in saying that I'm extremely disappointed that you didn't respond back to our letter that was hand-delivered to you to table this hearing. We got no response, not even a no, and I think that's disrespectful. Okay, what is the MZDO? It's the Municipal Zoning and Development Ordinance. Who's supposed to enforce it? You are, City Council is, the staff is. The City of Hardeeville is supposed to enforce the MZDO. That's your job. Okay. As a tax-paying citizen, our expectations are that you follow the MZDO. If it's not followed, there is a zoning board of appeals that's set up to hear appeals when there's an error in enforcing the MZDO. Okay, we don't want to appeal this. We want all of you to do your job and follow the MZDO as written. For example, I have many. I'm just going to say one. On page 84, I don't think you guys probably know that page, but it states that all lots shall abut on a street. If you look at the picture, there are townhomes that face the lagoon, the central lagoon. Look at the picture, and they're not on a street. They're not on a street. They don't have a street address. The MZDO says that they all shall abut a street. They have alley access. That's not a street. A street, according to the MZDO, has curbs, a gutter, and sidewalks. Okay. Andy's brought up a lot more other issues in the MZDO that aren't followed. And also, according to the East Argent PDD, there are issues in that aren't being followed either. So my question or my plea is let's not get involved in an appeal process. Let's not get attorneys involved in this. We just want you guys to follow the MZDO as written. You are experts in knowing what's in there. I just go home and I read it, and I'm like, well, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. We want you to do what makes sense, to do the right thing, and follow the established ordinances and requirements and laws that have been developed in the city of Hardeeville. That's our plea to you. We're asking you to follow what has been written. Okay. As the lead resident in the apartment project with Orange Capital, that project went immensely wonderful. We were congratulated by the mayor for doing such a wonderful job. I don't know what happened this time, but it's been a huge fallout. And that's me ending, but I have a lot
Finish
more.
your thought.
Oh, and when the people got involved this time, I told them I wasn't going to get involved. I was going to act as a consultant to them, but everything went downhill, and I don't know where it happened. I mean, everybody's the same here that was here last time, except the developer's different, and Josh Gruber's wasn't involved last time, and I just try to figure out we have a really bad taste in our mouth about what's going on here. We just want this to be a win-win situation, a compromise. We don't feel like we're getting anything. We're getting nothing. But everything that we've brought up, you don't either address, number one, or you ignore. And it's frustrating to us. And we want to get on the right path here. We want this to be a win-win situation for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All who agree with that, please raise your hands. Thank you very much. Next.
Robert Cohn, 1576 Azalea Drive in Riverton Point. I also want to go back to the Rusty and Orange Capital with the farmhouse. I think the difference is, and it's the same group, and we did cooperate, was that we would get these new maps and the new plan like sooner than just the day before the first hearing or the second hearing. And they would come to us and say, okay, how about this? And we got a bigger pond, and we're going to move this around. What do you think? And then eventually, we all agreed, and there was no contentious meeting. It was agreed. But if you bring in the plan the day before with a new master plan, then this master plan doesn't even have any traffic study report at all. It just says to be provided. And I was Mr. Traffic, like I was in charge with our group. I was Mr. Traffic. That's why I was always talking about that. So now there seems to be an amended master plan with no traffic study. And I think the wetlands letter was only good for 5 years and it expired. So the application is pretty much incomplete. But I think if we just had one more 30 days, and if we could meet with the McGuinns and Rusty one more time, because we really are in a position now where we want to come up with a proposal where we just present to you. And I think it would be good for both sides, but we just need a little more time because we just saw this maybe 48 hours ago online, and they don't communicate with us like Orange Capital. So maybe we were spoiled because Orange Capital was, friendly. And matter of fact, Orange Capital is still knocking on our door, telling us ahead of time they're doing something with the farmhouse project and asking what we think about it. So it is just a different way of doing it. And I think that we're close, and we're the voice of reason now. And we don't know how it got off rail, and we're sorry that somehow it got contentious. But, where there's 1,000 houses going to be built, and there's a bunch of voters in those houses, and let's say not everybody's a couple, but let's say there's 1,500 voters. So those voters, that right now they're not happy that this whole project is getting squeezed into these 20 some odd acres, right? And that's a big voting block. And right now, if you walk down the street in Riverton Point and ask people what they think about this thing, nobody is happy. And we don't want a whole bunch of 1,600 voters who are all mad. So if you just give us a little more time, I could give you my word that I'll try to get this thing done, and maybe the application could be complete, and we could move on with our lives. Thanks.
Can I see a show of hands? Please, please. Thank you very much. Next.
Jim McNamara, 1735 Azalea Drive. I'm not going to try to reiterate what my better spoken colleagues have said. Now we're at 0, we're starting the clock? Okay, perfect. The only thing I would say is I went last week to Palmetto Electric, and there was a traffic study being done, whether that's the correct terminology or not, to support a bond initiative that's on the ballot for November of this year for Beaufort County. The engineers were there. It was a collegial. I know the mayor was there. I know members of staff were there. People got to ask questions, have their concerns addressed. The one thing that I noticed from what Beaufort County is trying to do is they're trying to make it easier to get onto Argent and East Argent Parkways to eliminate a red spot they have at 170 and 278. Everybody says, you know, these applications come in, and I think the last traffic study was 2017. I think it's totally outdated. I think before anything further moves forward here, we need a traffic study that engages the community and shows what's going to happen on Argent Parkway, Argent Boulevard, whatever the correct terminology is. And the community have some input into this. Driving here today, I noticed the buffer or the barrier, the island at certain points is not the 150 feet on East Argent it's supposed to be, according to my reading of the documents. At some places it may be, but at some places it's probably no more than 10 feet wide. What is this going to look like? I see survey stakes from the back gate of Riverton Point towards Argent, so there's some survey going on. I, as a member of the public, would like to understand what's going to transpire on what was a country road, one lane, only partially opened on each end, what it's going to look like for the entire 6-mile stretch as we add more and more onto this project. I understand there's a D.R. Horton project going up further northbound on that. That is being cleared. There'll be massive numbers of cars. I just know, practically speaking, trying to get out from New River onto East Argent to go back to Riverton Point is becoming increasingly dangerous and difficult. The only thing I think of from my 47 years handling liability claims is someone will be T-boned eventually coming out of the Argent cottages. It will create a huge liability, one for whoever designed this roadway, and potentially the citizens of Hardeeville. I think more consideration for traffic, not to interrupt Mr. Cohen, who's more of an expert, but I really think that this is a critical issue for us. In addition to the design issues and the fact that I think under the PDD and the MZDO, masonry fence is supposed to be one of the options. And I think a beautiful masonry fence would work quite well. Each POA maintains each side, paints it white, and it looks great for decades to come. Thank you very much to everyone for listening.
Thank you. All who agree with Mr. McNamara, please raise your hands. Thank you very much. Next. Going once. Oh, well, here we have somebody.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joan Scanlon. I live at 125 Juneberry Court in Hardeeville. I've been to every meeting from the first farmhouse to this one, and the mayor has mentioned on multiple occasions about single-family cottages and affordable housing for nurses, firemen, doctors, our first responders. I have yet to hear that come back at any meeting subsequent to that. So are we taking that into account? He had asked for single families along the back fence right there that faces the Riverton Point property. 10%, I think, was his number for first responders and nurses and teachers. And like I said, I've yet to hear that come back. So I'd like to know what's going on with that. Thank you.
Thank you. All who agree, please raise your hand. Thank you very much. Next.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Hawley. I live at 472 Riverton Point Boulevard. And I just have a couple questions and comments. One, I would like to just appreciate the fact that that bottom home is off of this plan. That was a huge concern for us. But one of the things that I noticed, this map, the map that I have, like, and I'm not techie, so I can't give you a big slide presentation, but I have pictures, and I actually paid Jasper County to get a copy of a map. And then, of course, they charged me 2 more times that I had to go back on. But anyways, the map that I have where I show my home is completely different. There's a difference of like 1 full lot. So I don't know what map's correct. I don't know where my house is in this project. Where I know about where it is, I don't know if I'm 1 lot in, 2 lots in, 1 lot over. And that's my question. Every map I've seen has been different. And I don't know if this is clear or not clear, or is this accurate? I don't know. Is this just cut and paste? Because I mean, I can do that, but it doesn't make it accurate. So that's one of my questions. My other question is the buffer. I can tell you from the people that planted the plantings at my home in Riverton Point, the greenery didn't survive. It didn't survive 6 months. I paid and replanted all of it. So that's one of the things that I would like to inquire about, or at least have someone take a look at. You can plant it now, but in 3 years, who's maintaining it and will it grow? Because I can tell you that the company that plants them for the developer, it doesn't grow. So I just want to ask what's going to make it stay alive and who's going to come back and replant whenever it dies. So that's one of the things that I had. And then my other question is the road that comes down there that was the attention was brought about not being able to turn around. Would that road still come down there, or is that no longer necessary? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For those who agree, please raise your hand. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? All right, public comment is now closed. We will now start with council comments, and I will begin with Mr. Carroll.
Well, it's been a difficult process, and we have gone through it for months. And as the mayor said, I think it was the last council meeting, nobody's going to be completely happy either way we go. It's a matter of compromise and trying to come up with the best process. And as Josh said today, the developer has agreed to several more concessions. And I just don't feel like any continued debate is going to change very much.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Mr. White?
I think John, from my perspective, has summarized it well. I think there's been some good debate, a lot of information. I don't think things are going to change more than they have changed.
All right, thank you. Ms. Guzman?
I have a couple of questions for the developer. We talked about the stormwater ponds and this being a mixed development with kids. I know you guys agreed to the signage about the gators and the dangers of gators. Looking at that center storm pond, I see that's going to be an amenity space. What is that going to be used for?
It's active open space.
Meaning, what's active open space? Kids playing around there, people sitting?
Possibly.
Okay, so how are we going to make it a safe space?
So you're looking for some sort of mitigation measure beyond the signage.
Can you guys pull that off? I'm just concerned about the safety because kids will be kids. Somebody will bring a ball over there, start kicking it around. You can't control what people will be doing in that space. And if a ball rolls downhill, the natural reaction for a child is to chase it down. I mean, I don't know because when I see that and I see amenity space, I'm thinking people are going to bring their chairs out there, sit, kids are going to be running around playing, and we're going to have creepy crawlies in there. I'm just trying to find a happy medium in here.
Well, if I were being 100% honest, I don't know that I have a good answer for that right now, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just don't know what I think our move here would be probably to do, sort of canvass the market to see, with all of the retention, sort of all the retention ponds that are adjacent to active open space and see what options are available. We wouldn't be opposed to anything that facilitates safety. I think I'm just being honest right now. I don't know that I have a good answer to what that would look like, but we would be open to it.
Let me see if I can help a little bit here. And I know part of it is understanding that you want to tailor the amenities to the residents that are going to be in this community so that if your demographics tend towards the older, you're not going to install a playground. You may look at doing a dog park. Where I'm going with that is once you know the type of amenity that would go there, if it's going to be something that involves pets, children, things like that, that it be a fenced-in and secured area for that portion of it. If it's going to be walking trails for adults, those obviously don't need to be in.
I see.
But that the amenity would then be protected based upon who's going to be using it. That make sense?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So, where do we go from here?
Well, I think I would think the action item here is, as part of the design process is more clarity with specific applications of each space. And then if it is intended for kids, that we would have mitigation measures as far as, or dogs for that matter, I guess, safety measures to prevent what you're worried about, which is, balls or kids ending up in the pond.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you have children and you know how kids are.
We have 3. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will be part of the SRC. Thank you. And then we're going back again to the stormwater issue. I was reading your IMP, and in the IMP, it's demarcated where all the stormwater pipes are going to be. And I noticed that they were going to be 8-inch pipes. Is that adequate to address all the stormwater that's going to be running off this development?
No.
Water mains.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
there were
that-
water mains. Okay,
Yeah.
because I thought that was on the stormwater map.
Never be close
Okay.
sized enough for this to get it all to flow correctly. We're looking more like kind of that 24 to 36 inch.
Okay, perfect.
type
Okay,
drainage.
even better. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, the other one was you're going to be using native trees to create the overstory and understory living fence for the buffers.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have a question for the ladies in the planning department. So I know when the SRC meets, they review the detailed engineering and landscape plans to include the full tree survey. Is that correct? Y'all go through the complete full?
That is correct.
Okay. So, and in this full tree survey, you delineate which are the hardwoods that have to remain and what trees can go?
Correct, yes.
Okay. I also know that you frequently have boots on the ground to do your visual inspection during the process.
Do.
So my question is, what is the penalty for non-compliance at any stage if the developer does not follow the plan agreed upon during the SRC process?
Sure. It would depend on what the violation, the non-compliance is, but in any case, there would be a stop work order placed on it while we determine how to move forward. If there was mitigation required, they would have to revise a plan. The reason I say that it varies is, some things like not keeping up with their erosion control is one path forward. Another like removing a protected tree has certain other fines, and whether it be monetary mitigation, etc. We try not to have to go to court, but that is always an option if there's continued noncompliance. But they will not be able to keep proceeding with construction if they have outstanding violations. They also will not be able to apply for any new permits. So everything would be stopped until it was mitigated.
So,
And Councilwoman goes, let me just add to that so that it's clear. While we can't articulate what the punishments would be, the punishments are going to be calculated to serve as a deterrent and not just as a cost of doing business. We expect our regulations to be adhered to, and we will take significant action in response if they are not. So just to make that clear, we can't articulate it because we don't know the size of the violation, but the penalty will be such that it will be an encouragement not to do it again.
okay.
Okay?
So it's not a slap on the wrist.
Correct.
Good. Also, Katie, I was reading the stormwater and erosion sediment control page. I believe it's on page 109. It talks about the maintenance activities that will be performed to ensure that the proposed drainage system and stormwater management facilities will operate as designed. Interestingly enough, I also found in there that there is an annual certification of any stormwater detention facilities by a South Carolina registered engineer, and this certificate shall indicate that structures and embankments are in good condition. And then going forward, also every 5 years, an engineer shall provide certification of storage, volume, and depth. Now, who finds the engineer to do that?
The applicant is responsible for that. That's part of their stormwater maintenance plan that's reviewed by staff review committee. And they are required to submit that to us. If we see the report come back and we think there's a red flag, we are able to go out and hire our own engineer to do the inspection at the applicant's cost.
So it's not like we approve the project today, they go and do their thing, they build, and everybody just washes their hands and goes home. So the city's responsibilities continue even though the last CO has been approved, and gone
Yes.
forward, the responsibility to make sure that those things that have been agreed upon during the SRC is being followed.
Yes, it will, if the community's turned over to the HOA's responsibility then takes that over. So it's continued for the lifetime. Yep, everything.
All right. And of course, the engineer that is a certified engineer. It's not
Yes.
somebody that you go get off the street and tell them to stamp it.
We verify their licenses. They are, yes,
Yeah,
there are
so-
definitely criteria for that.
Okay, and nobody's going to sacrifice their license for
No.
something. Okay.
No, they
let-
lose a lot with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I think I had one more question. And this might be for Mr. Rusty. So these stormwater ponds, are they retention or detention ponds?
They are, I always get this is a funny one. So they are, all right, let me figure it out. Let me
You want
see.
the classification? I got
I'm
it.
trying to remember. So they're there to hold water and then release it over a period of time. They're not there to capture water and let it perk in and stay. So technically it's a retention pond, not a detention pond. A detention pond is something that basically holds the water and never lets it release, while a retention pond kind of retains it for a period and lets it release.
It's the other way around.
Is it the other way around? I
Yeah,
get it mixed
it's
up.
the
all
other way
time.
around. That's why I asked you. I could give it to you because I had it written down.
I tried to
Okay,
say it all
because
out in my head
Yeah,
and get
I
it
mean,
right,
it's confusing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Okay. Any
there.
response from Buford Jasper about how they're going to address that section that's open back there with their easement?
Last we talked to Toll Brothers, and Buford Jasper was before our last meeting.
Yeah.
And our understanding was that Toll Brother was going to be put together a screening landscape plan to be put on their side of the property. like pretty, really soon right now, basically.
Mhm.
And they were sending that to Beaver Jasper for them to review and approve. I have not heard any more since then,
Yeah.
but we can follow back up and we'll work with.
Yeah, because I did read in that document, that 202-page document, that when it comes to easements, you have to be very careful how you plant certain things, because if it gets in the way of those easements, they can tell you to take it down. So, yeah. Okay, I think that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I have a question for the fire marshal. Okay, I know you guys meet during the SRC meetings and talk about how safely you can get your equipment through, and I'm seeing a lot of roads there. And since they are 2- and 3-story homes, I'm wondering, what ease of movement do you have with that ladder truck through this development?
So at this point, what we'll, if it proceeds forward, when it gets to the SRC meetings, what we'll do is we'll run an engineering analysis on that with our ladder truck compared to the road, the radiuses, the turns, to make sure that it can navigate in here appropriately. If it does not, we may have to increase radiuses or look at turnabouts to make sure that everything complies with the fire code as well as city ordinance.
Okay. And just this question is off the cuff. What's an ISO rating, sir?
That's the Insurance Services Office. Basically, it's based upon 1 being the best, 10 being the worst, or the, currently, we are an ISO Class 2 department.
And it's class 2, meaning we're just one away from the top.
Yes, ma'am.
So we are fully
we're-
trained right at the top, and our citizens don't have to worry about getting second class
No, ma'am. We
fire
are,
services.
We're up there, and we are striving to be a one. That will come in the future as we are a growing city. We're having to manage accordingly, but we will achieve a one day.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right,
That's all
thank
I
you.
have. Thank you. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Guzman. I just have a few comments, but I also have comments that the mayor has submitted that he wishes me to read. But first, my comments are, I've received numerous emails from you folks, and I do appreciate it, and I've read every one of them. One thing that did bother me, though, I was approached leaving church by a Riverton Point resident who proceeded to kind of read me the riot act, and she said that I am ruining the Riverton Point lifestyle. The time and place for this was not in a church parking lot. I respect all of you, you respect me, but I find that irresponsible and unacceptable. That's unacceptable behavior any place. So that was my only comment with that. Now, at this time, I am going to read a statement that was given to me by the mayor that he wished read at this meeting. My statement at public comment. It is my opinion as mayor and a citizen that after 6+ months of changing compromises, planning commission hearings, workshops, and public hearings, I believe the best option has been presented this evening, as recommended by our excellent planning department. I say this with 3 caveats. The 4 homes at the end be removed. There be a play area in its place, perhaps future placement of playground equipment and or a partitioned dog park. Active open spaces of 10% exclusive of walkways. Per discussion at first reading, I agree with the suggestion that higher plantings be used on the living fence and that Toll Brothers be asked to add a living fence on their side of this area, thereby providing more densely wooded privacy along this area. As of this writing, I am told that McGuinn has agreed to all 3 caveats and higher plantings. If this remains true, I would vote yes if I were there. But whichever way the council votes on March 19th, I fully support your well-thought-out decision and send my compliments for your thoroughness during the entire process. I wish to add that I am deeply ashamed of the behavior of those who have verbally abused our staff. Furthermore, emails and letters falsely accusing staff of inappropriate bias, counsel of not properly doing their due diligence, criticism of our city manager, illegalities of our proceedings, and demeaning characterizations of these future home buyers have left me saddened at this obvious attempt to bully and intimidate our council and staff by a small group to achieve their goals. As I stated on March 5th, often good compromise is the one where neither side gets 100%. True or not, an opposite opinion should never be treated with behavior such as this. The city of Hardeeville cannot be bullied or intimidated in the discharge of our duties, and we will certainly not tolerate threatening or abusive language. I regret not being there this evening to personally deliver this message. May civility guide you all tonight. That was the mayor's comments as submitted to me and council. With that, I will close council comments.
I have one more question. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes, Ms. Guzman.
One more question for the developer, and it was again, Mr. Olson, for the amenity space that is now taking the spot of the building that was removed. You haven't determined what's going to go in there, correct?
No, ma'am.
So, can I safely presume that that's going to be fenced in as well?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm done, sir.
All right. Now, I need to read this as we go. Before proceeding, I want to acknowledge that the council has received numerous written comments and letters from the public regarding this matter, including concerns about applicable codes and procedures. I will now ask staff, has the applicant complied with the city's master plan submittal process? Yes. The answer is yes. I will now ask the city attorney, have all laws and procedures applicable to the notice, scheduling, and consideration of a master plan approval been properly followed?
Thank you, Councilman. And I will say I have reviewed every letter, every comment and concern that has been shared with the council, as well as the comments that have been presented at the meetings. This particular item is for the approval of a master plan. It is not for an approval of a development agreement. It is not for the approval of a PDD, which is the zoning. It is not for an annexation application. And there are multiple requirements that apply to each and every one of those, but they don't apply to all of them. So as far as the legal obligations of the city regarding a master plan approval, each of those steps have been followed and met.
Thank you very much. City Manager Gruber, do you have any other comments?
No, other than to state that we have spent a significant amount of time reviewing all public comments, whether the letters that have been received or the emails that have been received, because we want to make sure that we have not missed anything. So while we've not gone on a back and forth point for counterpoint, we have looked at each and every concern that has been submitted to make sure that it has been addressed in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I will entertain a motion regarding ordinance number 2026-2-5D. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I recommend second reading approval on ordinance 2026-02-05D.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilman Carroll?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman? Yes. Mayor Pro Temp Mearsman?
Yes.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Motion has passed. 2026-02-05D. Thank you very much. At this time, I am going to ask for a 10-minute recess. Council, do you agree?
Yes.
We are in recess for 10 minutes. All right. We have finished that. We are on to new business. Is a resolution for the City of Hardyville, South Carolina, City Council setting immediate short and long-term goals and objectives for 2026 and beyond, while directing the city manager to focus the city's resources to accomplish the stated goals and objectives. This is 2026-03-19A. Mr. Gruber.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Mearsman. The city annually undertakes a planning workshop, which we utilize as an opportunity to set kind of our annual goals for the upcoming year. What are the projects we want to get completed? What are the different goals that we want to accomplish? And then we'll also spend some time identifying those different strategies and tactics that we'll use to accomplish those goals. I'm really excited that this year we've been able to take all the feedback that you gave us at our workshop at the end of January, and Neil has been working on putting that into a revised, comprehensive, strategic plan for you all to consider. And I'm particularly excited about the redesign that he's done, because I think the product he's going to show you this evening is going to be a much more powerful tool to help communicate with the public about those goals and objectives that we're trying to get accomplished. So with that in mind, I'll ask Neil to kind of give us a summary of what's going on with this particular item.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, Council.
Good afternoon, Neil.
Thank you all. So I did send this packet, the part out in the packet, so you all could have a kind of a sense of what this looked like. As you know, we tried every year to do something better. Under this year, under the vision of the city manager, it was how do we make this better, that it could relate to anybody that picks this document up, that says, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the process. This is how we're implementing. This is the timeline. Try to make it as clear as possible, but also make it look as professional as we can. So that's what we ended up with. So we can still, just for the overview for the public and stuff, I mean, we still have kind of 5 pillars or strategic areas that we always focus on every year. So that's government, economic development, infrastructure, public safety and security, and community engagement. Under those, we have priority areas. So, I mean, this year, even though we try to narrow it down as much as possible, we still have 21 priority areas that was discussed during that retreat, that we have some sort of action steps and stuff to move forward with. And that's included in the document. It kind of outlines each one of those and the detail and stuff necessary with that. I mean, we're really excited the way that it turned out. And we were hoping that, you know, we can move forward with this and get the printed copies and stuff made, to have that made available for you, and also public stuff to pick up and stuff to utilize as we talk to people. I'm happy to answer any questions, or we can go through any particular part of the document that you would want to see. So.
All right. First, I'm going to ask for any public comment. Seeing none. Council comment. Mr. Carroll.
I think Neil did a good job. It's kind of condensing it down from you know, like for Val and all, trying to be able to follow along. And
I heard that.
but anyway, I like it, and I tell you, of course, Neil, you were there at the retreat too, but I think we had a really good retreat, and we discussed these issues and fine-tuned it and kind of narrowed it down, and you condensed it some more. So, no, I'm very pleased with that.
And truly think that the strategic retreat was probably the best one that we've had to date. So we keep on trying to improve that process. Yep. And a lot of kudos to the city manager stuff for leading us through that process. But I thought we did a great job. So.
Yes.
Councilman White.
You know, I think the breakdown of the 5 categories that you have are very helpful, because it funnels, I think, the important considerations. And so I like these 5 categories, and I think it's a good outline, and I think it's going to have a good outcome. So I'm very impressed.
Councilwoman Guzman.
To echo what John said, I think that retreat was, I want to say, this is my 4th year going on, and I think it was one of the best, the best. So thank you for putting that together, and Mr. Gruber for facilitating that. But I think everything was very cohesive, and gave us an avenue to pick which ones that we really want to go through. So that tells me there was a lot of time and thought put into that. And it was done really well, Neil. Thank you.
I can say we sat at that meeting and we identified a wish list, a needs list. And with the help of staff, we have narrowed that down to what our critical needs are and what on our wish list is actually possible. And I think that is what the future is. We need to plan for our future, but we need to cover what we have to today. And I think you all did an excellent job in identifying those, and not only identifying those, but looking at ways to accomplish them now and in the future. So thank you very much. Anything else? All right. With that, then I am going to ask for a motion for approval, disapproval, or any changes to Resolution 2026-03-19A.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. We have a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hardeeville, South Carolina, in support of the University of South Carolina Beaufort Sand Shark 2020 project. This is Resolution 2026-03-19B. City Manager Gruber.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. If you'll recall, this body was asked to take up a resolution that was of similar language supporting the University of South Carolina Beaufort's 2020 Sand Shark 2020 project, which is really the improvements to their campus to include a convocation center, some athletic fields, and some other facilities as part of that main campus area. What they have asked for is, in the first resolution that was adopted, there was a provision that stated, or at least called out, that while the city was adopting the resolution of support, that it was not to be construed as a commitment of any financial resources. They have asked that that language be taken out, not because they're asking for resources at this point, but they want to take our resolution of support and show it to other local governmental jurisdictions to obtain their support to that, and ultimately gather all of that and take it to either the state or federal governments to seek additional funding. So because of that, we do support the resolution that they've requested, and the contents of which should be substantially similar to what you previously approved.
Okay, thank you very much. Council?
I don't have any, but I think he's,
Mr. White?
I agree with this change.
Ms. Guzman?
No comment, no.
I think we've covered that. I think you answered any questions that the council may have had from the previous meeting. With that, public comment. Seeing none. Is there a motion for the approval or disapproval or any changes to Resolution 2026-03-19B?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2026-03-19B.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We are on to the manager's report. Mr. Gruber.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I do not have anything to report to you this evening.
Thank you very much. Council issues and concerns. I will start on my right tonight with Ms. Guzman.
Of course, put the girl on the spot.
That's right.
Okay, I have two things. Actually, I want to say a huge thank you to Matt and the staff who was involved in getting the light at the Margaritaville and Hilton Head Lakes intersection pushed through. They did a fabulous job, and the people in my development are very happy and that the light has been installed and that they can safely cross 278 westbound without the fear of getting hit. Also, I want to recognize all the ladies in the city, in City Hall, in honor of Women's International Day. I think we have a great bunch of ladies that work here, and kudos to all of us. So let's give ourselves a pat on the back.
That's it.
Thank you.
Councilman White?
Agree with what Val said. Nothing more to add.
Nothing more.
Councilman Carroll? Nothing more to add. I have to agree with Val. I think we have a dedicated staff of women and men. We are very fortunate with that. my only other thing I want to say is we made a very difficult decision this evening, and this is why we are in this position. We're not going to make everybody happy all the time, but that's just how it has to be. Sometimes it's difficult in the community, day in, day out, dealing with these same people that may be disappointed in how we vote, or people that we will see on a regular basis. And at times it is tough for me, especially, to keep civil. But I'm working hard on doing that, and I appreciate the support of the council and staff in helping us make these decisions. I look forward to more of it in the future. With that, do I have a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Everybody say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned, and we made Miss Cindy